Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturgio and Chris Gucci.
Non-talking version that way nobody can hear what we're saying. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mojo Market Report here on a Victory Monday for half the league. Maybe not so much Chris's teams. It is Dave Sturgio. It is Chris Gucci, A5 behind the glass, and of course, coming to you from Chop Studios. We hope you guys are okay out there. We hope you guys enjoyed the Sunday football. We just want to also hope that Tom Brady is okay after suffering that catastrophic normal textbook tackle that was called an unnecessary roughness. I can't get over this anymore. I understand he's the GOAT. I understand he's been around forever. I understand all that. But this has to stop. I want to watch football. He literally was tackled like you tackle somebody in Pee-wee.
If there was a penalty on that play, it was on Tom Brady. Did you see what he did? It looked like a little brother getting picked on by his older brother.
Hey!
And he kicked him. He kicked him. I'm thinking, no question about it. He talked to the ref, and the ref, he was like, yo, he just roughed me. And the ref was like, oh, he did? Okay, here, Tom. Come on, give me a break.
And then he'll throw the flag and just place it down. Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway, Tampa Bay gets a win. A lot of teams got some wins this weekend as we move into, of course, the topic of conversation on everybody's mind right now. Who are your top movers? And there was a lot of them. A lot of good football, despite the fact that Tom Brady said there's a lot of bad football out there. There's a lot of good football out there. And we start on the local front. We got to. And unfortunately, we got to talk about it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Part of the job. It's part of the criteria here. We talk about, and I'm not going to call him his nickname because I still feel like that was just given to him because it went together. It was never earned. I don't think he's ever thrown a dime in his life.
There.
Daniel Jones, one of the top movers yesterday on the local front. The New York Giants take down the Green Bay Packers in jolly old London. Chris, look, there's a lot to dissect with this game in particular, but Daniel Jones made the big throws when he had to.
He did. Daniel Jones' final stat line doesn't look too appealing.
No.
He did go up. He is a top mover in the Mojo market based on the difficulty of the plays that he succeeded on third and longs. Daniel Jones was dropping dimes there, I say. And the most telling thing about this whole entire performance, the whole Sunday, was the fact that after the game, Brian Daboll was asked about the quarterback position, and he said, and I quote, "I'm glad he's our QB." So
that's not nice. Brian, you shouldn't lie right to the camera. There's a lot of media.
I do want to point out
even internationally.
I want to point out the fact that in the Mojo market, a job is one of the most important things.
It really is.
And the whole question surrounding Daniel Jones going into the season was, are the Giants going to keep him in town? He's on a contract year. They didn't give him the fifth year.
Yep.
The team option on the fifth year because he was a first rounder. So Daniel Jones is playing for money. He's playing for a job. And when you have a new regime in there, and the new regime is now
backing you
a little bit, it's a little telling, and it might be a sign to go a little long on Daniel Jones going forward, just based on the fact that the Giants are a 4-1 football team right now. They're clicking a little bit. They're making plays in the second halves of football games. The Giants are the best team in football, arguably. It's actually insane.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, first of all, the Giants are 4-1.
I understand that. And they finally beat somebody. Are they somebody
on the road? They are. The Packers are going to be fine. I think there's some real hull damage on that defense, but I don't want to talk about the Packers.
Daniel Jones' stat line, just so everybody's aware, is 21 of 27, 217. He averaged 8 yards a throw. He got 77% completion. So that's how you know that there was a lot of dink and dunk and safe throws, and that's fine. He actually ran the ball for 10 times, 37 yards. Daniel Jones is a serviceable, good quarterback in the NFL.
He's got Kirk Cousins written all over.
He really,
him,
that's the vibe I get
without
from him.
Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
But if you look at his movement yesterday, I wonder if it spiked a little bit just when Brian Daboll said that's my quarterback.
Yeah, when I say Kirk Cousins, I actually meant to say Ryan Tannehill.
That's like Spider-Man meme stuff right there. Yeah. Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones in a circle.
I compare it a little bit because I think Tannehill took a little bit longer to get going in his career.
In his second stop, too. So that's another thing.
But I think it was the second stop will be, if Daniel Jones, we'll talk second contract instead of second stop. So Daniel Jones' second contract looks a little more so like that of a Ryan Tannehill progression. Then Kirk Cousins ousted RG3 for the job in year 2. So like they kind of
he was
made
also
the plan.
drafted the same year, which was like mind numbing to me. By the way,
Yeah.
you were just setting that up for future. Like basically, you draft Robert Griffin III, you let him do his thing, you play him hurt, you don't even care about his health, and then all of a sudden, like, don't worry, man.
Speaking of RG3, there's been some cringe-worthy
Bro,
social media exchanges
yes.
with Shady McCoy,
Yeah.
which we don't want to get into here.
No,
but
no,
we'll
no.
talk about that later.
It's all about the Mojo market here today, and if you cashed in on Daniel Jones yesterday, congratulations. I know I woke up today like this, up 253% in my Mojo market. And look, I don't want to brag, even though I'm sort of bragging right now. I want to say that it's the multipliers thing. Yes, I love that aspect of it, and there is inherited risk, don't get me wrong. But when you know that there's going to be opportunity, like my portfolio is very safe. It's Jalen Hurts. We know he's playing great. It's Kenny Pickett, which we'll kind of get into that game when we talk about that game, and then it's Zach Wilson, which we'll talk about in a minute too. But like those guys have opportunity now to soar through the moon, and that's why the market moves and dictates the way it is. But
yeah, so if you played a multiplier on Daniel Jones yesterday, I believe they were giving out a 10-time multiplier for free on Daniel Jones yesterday. If you played that, a 10-time multiplier going long on that, you made 50%, 47% on your investment in one day. So that's why the multipliers are cool. I would have been a little hesitant using a multiplier going into that game
in London against the Packers.
Because the Packers' pass defense has been exceptionally good. But it didn't matter in this one.
Giants get the win. They're 4-1. Congratulations to the G-Men. I say that as like just as generic as I possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to the Mets, by the way. Just kind of get that out there.
No. Don't bring that in.
There was a small part of me that was rooting against the Mets yesterday for the faction of Mets fans that are also Giants fans. I was like, these guys got to have some type of pain today. So,
wow, you are doom and gloom. I know you lost, but jeez, my God.
Look, man. I'm not gonna physically actually wish something on someone, but the Mets losing is a nice consolation for me.
Okay. And coming soon to Mojo, eventually, this is gonna happen. Baseball, basketball, it's all coming.
NBA. Can't wait for the NBA.
Cannot wait. All right, anyway. Moving on over to the other team from New York who decided to put up a 40-burger, and that is the New York Jets as they get this one done. 40-17, they take down the Miami Dolphins, minus Tua, minus Bridgewater, because they knocked him silly out of the game too. And being that the concussion protocol has changed in the NFL, Teddy's out. Here comes the third stringer.
Had an elbow situation.
He did. He was a little banged up. But the big mover here is I was going to talk about Zach Wilson, but I'm going to talk about Breece Hall. Zach Wilson had himself a day. Don't get me wrong. And again, when you win games in the NFL and you're a young upstart quarterback, they're gonna really, really appreciate you in New York because it's been a long time, especially within the Jets organization, that you can get hyped about anything. And this win gets you hyped. And now all of your draft picks are coming to life. You know what I'm saying? You have the Zach Wilsons of the world who we already knew, right? But then you have the Sauce Gardners getting his first interception on defense. But the big thing is almost 200 all-purpose yards out of Breece Hall yesterday. 18 carries for 97 yards, 2 receptions, and by the way, he scored on the ground. 2 receptions for 100. So this guy 197 all-purpose yards, and I believe there was a certain someone on this show who told you, I don't know where he is, he's not here yet. Let me know when he gets here. Who told you it's the Breece Hall show, and it happened.
Yeah, Breece Hall, his usage out of the backfield in the passing game is just, it separates him to me. Breece Hall RB1 going forward. I'm not saying in dynasty formats RB1 going forward. Breece Hall, he's the guy that I'm going after if I could get him. I'm all in on Breece Hall.
And when he speaks dynasty, he means
Mojo.
Well, I'm saying dynasty fantasy football leagues, and you means you want to hold on to him forever. That just means go long. And Breece Hall is the guy to do it. And just to give you a little bit of a secondary stat, not Breece Hall, it's Michael Carter, and he gets just 10 carries. So you could see that the ratio is almost 2-1 where Breece Hall is getting the rock.
I'm not out on Michael Carter.
I'm not either. I'm not. That's the beauty part about Mojo. Get on both.
Look, he has standalone value. He's going to have games where he pops a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to have to be a little more patient on a player like that, but I do think there's very, very much long-term value in a Michael Carter. I said this on the show the other week, and backup running backs that aren't really a backup, that have a real significant role on
I think they have to just lose the term backup at this point.
Well,
you know, like a guy like Carter is not a backup.
I think in a lot of cases, the backup running back is a third running back because, like I said, the roles don't tend to change. I don't know how much more usage Michael Carter would get. Would he get 5 more touches a game if there was no Breece Hall?
If there was no Breece Hall? Probably, yeah.
Right? Not too much more. And then those other touches would go to somebody else, to an actual backup. But yeah, those two, it's a dynamic duo. You see around the league how dynamic duos of running backs seem to be working. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. Whoa.
Ezekiel, Tony Pollard.
There you go.
Hey,
Pollard had a nice run yesterday.
Yes, he did. Gashing. But yeah, so Breece Hall seems to be the guy.
Could we just talk about real quick, because I know that we have all top movers that are on the way up in this little segment today.
We do, actually. Just so you know, it is a positivity Monday.
But I do want to talk about one thing that's in relation to this game, and that is that while Tua Tagovailoa did not play, he is a mover, and he moved in the positive direction, because I think he's 1 more week removed from the injury, and Tua didn't play. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, didn't play well. They're not going to be looking to keep that third string, 7th round pick in there for too long.
Kudos to him. He did all right.
Yeah, he did all right.
Yeah.
I think Tua will be back sooner than we think. And if you want to look at the pass catchers, both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle went down, I feel like, a fairly significant amount, considering it's just one game. Mm-hmm. And with Tua on the way up and those two receivers on the way down, we all know both of those receivers are going to get it done going forward. There's no real trepidation with the Tyreek Hill and a Jalen Waddle. It might be a good time to buy the dip on those two.
Okay.
If you missed out in week 2, week 3, and you were watching these guys, you're like, I wish I could have gotten them a week ago. Well, that time is now. It resurfaced. That's the market.
I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV, and when it comes to Tua, I have no idea. Like, I don't know when he's going to come back, or if, like, you would assume that he does. So keep your eye on Tua as well. But the Miami Dolphins find themselves behind the 8 ball a lot in this game. It was tough sledding for them. They kept it close, but the Jets started running away with it. Staying in the AFC East. Now, when you look at the Buffalo Bills, who just absolutely destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that was, I mean, if you were a gambler out there, you knew the spread was 14, so it couldn't have gone higher. You know what I mean? Like, the Bills took care of business, and one reason is the play of Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis absolutely destroyed and ate. But the thing is about Gabe Davis, and it's the funny part about this, he only caught the ball 3 times. 3 times. And to me, and I'll say this until I'm blue in the face, opportunity. The guy was targeted 6 times, reels in 3, but the yak and the speed and the bird, like, the guy was like he was barely in there with an ankle. You know what I mean? Like, it was hobbled. I was looking for that word, hobbled. And he balled out. I mean, the guy goes for 171 receiving yards. And that's just a testament to show you just how deep and how just versatile this entire
like
Buffalo.
A very Randy Moss-like stat line.
Yeah,
3 for 170 and 2 tutties.
Right.
That's Randy. You got mossed.
Yes, you got mossed. And I'm telling you right now, the Buffalo Bills, and I keep saying this, and I understand that Zach Moss popped off too. He's a mover today as well. He popped off at the end in garbage time. But if they can get a solid running game, and I know they have good guys, Singletary's good, and that Buffalo offense, man, that's going to be hard to stop going forward. Josh Allen is just picking and choosing. He throws for over 400 yards. He had like 350 in the first half, on pace for like 700. And I'm like, dude, this dude
they were
is
doing whatever
lacing
they
it.
wanted. There's a lot more going on right now. Like, obviously, there's issues at quarterback for Pittsburgh, but that defense is atrocious. So anybody that's playing Pittsburgh, I might be going along on for that week. And I just want to say a couple things to clear it up. When we talk, which we're going to get into it later on for the Monday night game, if I'm talking about a player for the day, right? If we're previewing a game for that night, when we give our insight, it's more so in like a DFS realm, where if you're looking to be a day trader, we're going to give you insight on who we think is going to go up that day. But a lot of the other times throughout the week, when we talk about players, it's going to be like a long-term thing. And I think I'll do a better job of clarifying which one I'm talking about in the moment. So going into the game today, the players that we talk about, I'm going to talk about how they're going to play today. Okay, back to Kenneth Walker.
Clear it up as we move on to, yes, another huge top mover. And in this regard, it's a lot different than the other guys, because Kenneth Walker, yes, he broke one yesterday. Okay, he broke one yesterday. He was eight rushes for 88 yards and that long touchdown. And boy, did he turn on the burners. The big thing here about Kenneth Walker and his stock as it soars to the moon yesterday is the fact that now Rashad Penny is out for the year. The Seattle Seahawks are now searching for their running back, and they have one on their roster right now. There's no let's look for outside help. Everybody knew Kenneth Walker was there. You said it a couple weeks ago when we do our little bargain basements, and we said, all right, get these guys now before they pop off. It happened again. Kenneth Walker's RB1 going forward.
Yeah, Seattle in the Pete Carroll system, you know what they're all about, running the football.
Except when it counts in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Which I think that hammers it home even more for me is that he's not going to make the same mistake twice. Yeah, Pete Carroll, if you look back at even the success they had with Russ, it was all running game. Russ in the fourth quarter, but running the ball for 3 quarters. I think Kenneth Walker, how I feel about him. The acumen coming out of college, he was legit at Michigan State. Dude is a load. And there was a chance that he was going to be the number 1 back picked in the draft. Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, that's a good little young tandem of backs to be in the Mojo market. You got to imagine I don't know how long Pete Carroll's going to be in Seattle because he is the oldest coach in football.
He's on strings at this point. I feel like he's just being like,
but
he might not be there.
But the dude's like practicing he's running 7-on-7 drills in camp. So Pete
Something
Carroll's
wrong
in
with
good
this guy.
shape.
Whatever
There's
he's on,
definitely
I'm in.
a lot wrong with Pete Carroll, but I think that his youth is not one of them.
No, age is not a beneficiary right now of Pete Carroll. But the Seahawks, look, and credit to Geno again. I mean, look, I understand they fell short, and that stinks. So we'll talk about the other team in a second. But 16 of 25, another 268, 3 touchdowns, and he runs a couple times for 13 yards. But Geno Smith, the offense isn't as bad as what we all thought it was going to be. Like, these guys are actually moving the ball, and they're just falling just a little short.
And you would think that with Geno Smith that he's doing this with all dinking and dunking. He's not.
No, he's putting air under that ball.
He's averaging, I think, 8 yards per attempt. Which
10
is
yesterday.
Third in the so he went into yesterday averaging 8 yards an attempt.
And he went up.
He was third in the league. He averaged 10 yards an attempt yesterday. There's a chance that Geno Smith is leading.
Shout out to his press conference,
There's a chance that Geno Smith is top 3 in quarterback rating with Tua and Mahomes and leading the NFL in yards per attempt. When is it time to go long on Geno?
It's very good.
I feel like Geno's going to get a contract. I mean, how could you not? I know it's a small sample size, but he's taken very good care of the football. He's taken pride in taking care of the ball. That's the number one thing that you would need at a guy that's going to hand the ball off a lot. And the weapons, DK just got paid. He's not going anywhere. Lockett, I feel like you could lock him up fairly cheap too. Doesn't seem like a guy that is going to demand a lot in free agency. I'm not sure his contract situation.
He's a Christian Kirk contract in the making, just so you know. Like, somebody might throw the bank at a guy like Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett would be more deserving than Christian Kirk was at the time of the contract, in my opinion, because he's had real success in this league. I'm not all the way in on Lockett. Something about him I'm a little skittish on him. But that's also like a thing about me is like I've always not thought he was good and he's always playing well. I also have this little small piece of me that hates Seattle for playoff loss reasons.
The non-interference? Not catch, no catch, fail Mary. Oh, that's a lot.
Onside kick.
He's going through a lot today, guys. Just give him a little bit of a break. But anyway, Kenneth Walker, new RB1 out there in Seattle, and again, opportunity is there. And if you're failing to realize what Geno Smith is doing, you probably just never seen him throw. Like the interview said. So shout out to Geno Smith.
He's been coached up 7 years as a backup. Geno Smith been around a long time. Tip your hat.
Geno
Smith, I'm pulling for you.
Same game, winning team, Taysom Hill. This guy is a cheat code. My buddy texted me yesterday, and it's one of those, it's a bad beat, man. When you bench a guy like this, and you're like, there's no way he can continue to be in this offense like this. And then he goes off and has himself a absolute career day. He throws one ball. It's a touchdown, by the way. He rushes 9 times, Ferris Bueller style, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. Bro, this guy,
he's their entire rushing attack.
Right, he is, that's a team that has Alvin Kamara on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is insane to me. Taysom Hill,
fade Kamara, by the way.
Well, it seems to be like he's not a necessity right now.
Heavy fade.
I just can't figure out Taysom Hill. I still can't figure him out. And obviously, if you look at his market yesterday, it soars to the moon. He's in the end zone. Every time you look at the Saints game, this kid is in the end zone. But it's like, there's nobody else built like this in the NFL. The guy lines up at tight end, fullback, quarterback, wide out, whatever he wants to do. Taysom Hill is the most versatile player on the offense in the entire league. There's nobody else that could do what he's doing right now.
I'm trying to just...
What
think
other
of a
guy?
more versatile player.
Gadget
player. Off the top of my head, I can't.
Right, there's gadget players that can take a wide receiver reverse. I saw last night. Cooper Kupp last night
is pretty versatile.
Cooper Kupp puts one up.
But I understand, like, he's also not lining up at QB.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, but what I mean is,
meaning like, I agree.
Oh, okay. Like, what are you talking about? You're with me on this.
Could I also point out the fact that the Packers had Taysom Hill in camp as a rookie and cut him? But not a good day for Packer fans.
Because you know what, though? People were like, it's Tim Tebow's back. That's fun. But this Duke is a
bro.
baller, and he
bro.
can play.
He was a baller in that camp, and Packer fans loved him, and they were very upset.
Did you draft him or undrafted?
He was undrafted.
Wow. Imagine if you got Taysom Hill. Listen,
don't quote me on the undrafted part. 99% sure he was undrafted, but I don't know.
I can't wait till that 1% comment's going to come in like, what? But dude, let me tell you something. This guy is fun to watch. He's a likable guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those guys that you just root for. And if you're an investor in the Mojo market with this guy, you have to assume that no matter where he goes, he's never going to be paid. Like the Debo thing, his contract is like astronomically weird. Taysom Hill, by the way. Like, remember, it was all like just funky. Yeah. Like the verbiage of that has to be. I want to be, in the room with his lawyer, with drawing that one up, and I'm like, what is he talking about? But in regards to his future, even within the Mojo market, even with the Saints know what they got, and they have somebody very special in the locker room right now. And I think that the opportunities will never go away, and it doesn't matter who's quarterback. Taysom Hill, I'll tell you right now, will never be a listed starting quarterback in this league. I don't think he's got those intangibles, but he's got everything else. And if you have everything else like he has, he's a very, very valuable guy to invest in.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant on the long play because
really?
For some reason, but hear me out. Only because the market doesn't even project him to have much success.
I know.
So I guess for that reason, because there isn't a high market projection, there's a better reason to play long on him. I just think there's going to be some inconsistencies. If you want to play at Taysom Hill, you could pick your weeks and have fun with it.
Well, that's
because he's going to blow up on some weeks.
Right.
And you could also just be patient and just know that because there is like a low expectation still for some reason, the guy just keeps on getting it done. But because he doesn't have an actual starting role, like they have a tight end one, they have a QB one, they have Kamara, but yet somehow he kind of spells all of them and does better.
Chris Olave, by the way, got banged up yesterday after that or they called that a touchdown, by the way. Whew.
Yeah, it was a little sketchy.
I want Dez to get the credit he deserves.
I was on Seattle yesterday.
So was I. But anyway, so Taysom Hill, human cheat code, unreal, like a great performance. And like you were saying before, like literally 8 seconds ago, he's a guy that like you can't really think of, like the market's already projecting him not to be this all world superstar. We already see that within the Mojo market, and we're watching it as it happens in real time. However, when you feel like he's about to pop, those are when you throw the multipliers on and get some money in that day.
Taysom Hill, he's one of those unique players that it's going to be hard to gauge his usage on a week-by-week basis, but he is definitely getting used. That's for sure.
Yes, he is.
In the red zone, too. So.
I know. And you're thinking like, oh, he's the goal line back. Like, you're talking about a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It's just I can't say enough about this guy. It's a lot of fun to watch. Week 5 is not done. There's one more game to be played, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight it is an AFC West battle between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders. A lot to digest into this one. Obviously, tomorrow we'll talk about those who balled out on a Monday night in front of the millions watching on prime time. But the obvious ones are the obvious ones, and those are the people that you see pretty much on your screen right now. The Patrick Mahomes is one of the long plays that you're just going to invest in his career for the rest of his life. Travis Kelce, same thing, one of the best tight ends in football, if not the best tight end in football. Of course, Derek Carr, that's the one I think about, like, if you're looking at a game time play, that's the one you want to be like, the Chiefs might be able to be had in the secondary. Maybe he airs it out. Devontae Adams, we talked a lot about his banked value a couple weeks ago based off the fact that he got passed by a guy like what was it, Jamar Chase? No, Justin Jefferson. Right, so he got passed as one of the top guys, but Devontae Adams is who he is, and I don't want to keep hammering Chris over the head with this, but like you're seeing the impact a guy like Devontae Adams has on an offense when the offense can't get going in Green Bay, and it's just, those are facts. And now I'm looking at a guy like Devontae Adams tonight in this offense, and I expect a big performance out of a Devontae going into a Monday Night Football game.
I do as well, because the Chiefs, if there's one way they could be had, it's through the air. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs' defense is surprisingly playing a lot better, but obviously the story about the Chiefs is their offense. They're second in points per game, they're seventh in yards per play, and they're first in total expected points added, which means like going forward, the projections say that the Chiefs are going to score the most points in football from this point on. So
really,
that plays well
a deep dive
in this game, especially because the Raiders' defense is 21st in yards per play, 23rd in points per play, and 23rd in total EPA. So the Raiders defense is not playing well. They're stopping the run decent. So I'm a little bit cold on a Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a game like today because I just think it's going to be a shootout a little bit, considering what the defenses give up. The Raiders have a top 10 run defense in football.
They spent a lot of money to get that front.
But the thing that we're waiting on right now is the Raiders pass rush. Through the first 4 weeks, they were getting to the quarterback. They were applying a little bit of pressure, maybe like middle of the pack as far as the league goes, but they weren't getting home. They were like dead last or second to last in sacks. A lot of that had to do with the Kyler Murray game where he just ran around in the backfield. They pressured him like 4 times on each play and couldn't get to him any of the plays. So that happened. I think the Raiders front seven needs to show up in this one in a major way. There's zero chance in this game if Pat Mahomes has time to throw.
I literally wrote that down. I said, the fact that the pass rush is not there, you're looking at one of the best quarterbacks in football right now when it comes to having the football in his hands of what he can do with it, whether he's shuffling or underhanding or whatever he's doing. All those pass catchers tonight, Kelsey, Hardman, Juju, all those guys, they're all guys to keep your eyes on tonight in particular if they can't get to the quarterback.
It's not a good night for the Raiders to try to start getting their pass rush going because offensively, the Chiefs are third in adjusted sack rate, which means that they're not giving up quarterback pressures at all. So the Raiders might have a tough time defensively, but we kind of expect that with any team playing the Chiefs. We could talk a little bit about the Raiders' offense now, which is a little surprising to me about how they've gone about things. They're running the football at a
Josh Jacobs playing very well.
Second in adjusted line yards for the Raiders offense. So they're the second best running football team in the league. Josh McDaniels managed to stave himself another week of criticism by getting that dub last week. But Denver wasn't a good football team. They aren't a good football team. We know Devontae is going to be involved. The questions here is Renfro's back and Darren Waller. Darren Waller has not been getting involved as much as we would have thought, considering how open the Raiders' offense was going to be for him to work the seam with Devontae and Renfro. And in the 2 games that Renfro's been missing, you didn't see an uptick in usage for Darren Waller.
We saw an uptick with Mac Hollins.
Yeah, Mac Hollins. I think you could kind of ship has sailed on Mac Hollins. I hope you don't still have him in your portfolio because he might not get a snap today. He probably will because he earned that, but he's not going to get as much playing time with Hunter Renfro.
Agreed.
And if you look at what Mac Hollins did in that role, Hunter Renfro, I'm thinking Hunter Renfro is a go long. I'm going long. You guys hear me? Go long on Hunter Renfro.
Okay.
The guy had over 100 catches last year, and nobody expected it. Now he's got Devontae to take the attention away. Don't worry about the fumble. The 2 fumbles in that game that cost him the game. He had a concussion, as we see. He missed 2 weeks.
Right.
So maybe the Raiders should be investigated for their concussion protocol.
That's another topic for another day,
another conversation to be had. But yeah, I think the Raiders are going to have a tough time running the football because in this game, they're going to be playing catch up, I believe. So handing the ball off to Jacobs, it kind of takes away what the Raiders are doing well, but they do have the talent. And if you look over the Chiefs run the last couple years in the Mahomes era, the Raiders have had decent success for as bad as they've been.
They have.
And as good as the Chiefs have been, the Raiders have played them well. Take that blowout last year out of the equation, but prior to that, they've done well against them. So I'm kind of on the Raiders offense today. Not so much Jacobs, but definitely Devontae, all in on Renfro, and I'm going to pump the brakes on Waller. But I do agree about Derek Carr. And obviously, if you're in on Mahomes, it's a season. It's not a season game thing. It's a career thing. So all good there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, maybe you pump the brakes on him, but Mahomes and Derek Carr, but Renfro is my guy in this one for sure.
Okay. And you know what's going to happen. We're going to come in here tomorrow, and he's going to say, I told you so. So Hunter Renfro might be the guy tonight. And, of course, we got Monday Night Football going down tonight. Chiefs, Raiders, going to be a good one. You just don't want to go punch for punch with a guy like Patrick Mahomes. You just don't want to do it. They might, just like you said, the Chiefs could stack the box against Josh Jacobs and make Derek Carr throw on you. And I don't know if that's the recipe for success. It's hard to stack the box
with those receivers.
Correct.
I think you'll see a very straight-up thing. I'm curious to know how much Steve Spagnuolo is going to dial up the blitz.
Great defensive coordinator.
Major issues and help out that secondary if they could generate pressure up front. They've been doing a lot better than I thought they would. Spagnuolo is very, very good at calling a defense.
He is. He is a Super Bowl champion defensive coordinator. All right. That'll do it for today. I want to also remind you guys right now, if you haven't already, do yourself a favor. Don't waste any more time. Download the app, okay? It's free to download. Do that. If you're in New Jersey, you can get in on the action. If you're not in New Jersey, hang tight. We're coming for you. I promise you, okay? Make sure you follow us at Mojo. literally at Mojo. So do that on Twitter, Instagram. Join the Discord. We're on TikTok. We're everywhere, okay? Also, subscribe to this channel in particular because we have great content throughout the course of the week. There's shows everywhere. There's also podcasts everywhere. Be sure to download all those podcasts. And, of course, check out all the amazing blogs by our experts over at mojo.com. That's where we get a lot of our information. So shout out to all those guys who are doing the deepest of dives to get you the best analytics in the game right now. So for Dave Sturchio, Chris Gucci, and of course, everybody watching at home, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the conclusion of Week 5 in the NFL.
Welcome to the Hunter Renfrow Show.